Guys, I'm Steve. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another video. If it's your first time stopping by the channel, hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you won't regret it. If you're a returning subscriber, as always, guys, welcome back, and I do appreciate the support. Excuse me. Guys, two days ago, I did a story out of Terrebonne, Louisiana, right? Terrebonne Parish, to be exact. Shout out. And it was about these two people up here. These two pieces of crap was Terrence Washington, 40 years old, is the boyfriend of this woman right here, Latanya A. Harris, age 40. Now, ladies and gentlemen, these people have done one of the sickest crimes I've ever seen to one's child. Now, Terrence Washington, granted, is not the parent. He's just the bum-ass boyfriend. And to this woman right here, Miss Harris. With them making a 6-hour trip from Louisiana to Houston, right? During that trip, they got into a car accident because this guy right here, Terrence Washington, was driving reckless. And I'll have the actual video I did about this crime in the pop-ups in the end. But the reason why I'm bringing this story back up and back to light is the severity of the injuries this 15-year-old girl, who's the victim in this story, had endured are beyond belief. This girl's injuries are so horrific, and she's expected to survive, and so devastatingly heartbreaking that a mother would do this to her own child and allow other atrocities permitted by Mr. Washington against her own child, that the sheriff that was reporting on the story in his press conference said there's no real way this young lady at 15 years old, who's the victim, will get real justice. Take a look at this news article and tell me if you catch what I heard, and we'll come back and do what we always do. Let's get it.
15-year-old Terrebonne Parish girl is recovering in a Texas hospital as her mother sits in jail. It's a crime law enforcement agents say will turn your stomach and shock you.
And this was definitely a difficult story to read today. Terrebonne Parish Sheriff's Office says the teen was shot twice, raped and burned. The girl's mother and her boyfriend are suspects in this case.
Lily Cummings was in Terrebonne Parish this evening and has new details about the mother's previous convictions.
She's an incredible young lady to be able to encounter what she went through and be able to tell our detectives what happened.
With emotion in his voice, Terrebonne Parish Sheriff Tim Saunier provided details about a gruesome case that crosses state lines. Last month, his department was notified of a child abuse case that may have gone undiscovered if not for a car wreck. The accident happened on I-10 eastbound in Baytown, Texas, about 300 miles away from Thibodaux. Baytown police say 41-year-old Terrence Washington was driving recklessly and was armed. 40-year-old Latanya Harris was in the passenger seat. Her two daughters, ages 10 and 15, were also in the car. The police say that the 15-year-old was suffering from gunshot wounds and severe burns to more than 30% of her body.
Detectives learned that mid-February 2024, the juvenile female was burned after Latanya Harris had learned of a sexual assault committed on the juvenile by her fiancé, Terrence Washington. Harris burned the juvenile with flammable liquid in a lighter at the Thibodaux residence.
When detectives searched the family's home behind me here, they say they not only found evidence that a gun was shot inside the home, but they also documented a strong odor of infection and decomposing flesh. The sheriff says the girls were homeschooled, which may have been why the abuse went unreported for so long. The sheriff says Harris and Washington denied her medical care, and now they face a laundry list of charges. WWL Louisiana obtained court records that show Harris pled guilty to child desertion in 2017. At the time, the court ordered her to, among other things, complete a parenting class.
It will shock you.
Joe Waits says in his nearly 28 years as district attorney, he's never seen anything this horrific.
Will we ever get justice for this person? I don't think that we can. The parts of her body that she's lost, the horrific mental and physical scars that she'll endure for the rest of her life.
Washington is in Texas being held without bond for crimes there. Harris is in Terrebonne Parish Jail being held on a $1 million bond. In Terrebonne Parish, Lily Cummings, WWL Louisiana.
Ladies and gentlemen, that's a quick recap with a couple of disturbing details. And it said the story was stomach churning. And I couldn't agree with you more with this whole thing of what that lady said. I want you guys to pay attention to something. I put something up on Google. Said this young lady, 15-year-old girl, rest of her life ahead of her, suffered from 3rd-degree burns and 4th-degree burns. I never knew there was such thing as 4th-degree burns. I thought it only went to the 3rd degree, which is the worst kind. But check this out. I want to show you a little bit of how this child looked when she was found by police. We can only imagine how it felt. It reads as follows. The difference between 3rd and 4th degree burns. 3rd degree burns destroy the epidermis, top layer of the skin, and the dermis, the ability for skin to grow back. 3rd degree burns may also damage the underlying bones, muscles, and tendons. That's 3rd degree burns. So she had 4th degree burns. When bones, muscle, and tendons are all burned, they may be referred to as 4th degree burns. The burn site appears white or charred. They basically cooked this girl alive. That explains why they said when they went to the trailer, they found evidence that someone was shot, and they also found the smell and signs of infection. Smell of infection and decomposition. You know what I'm saying? Decomposition of flesh, basically. So could you imagine a 6-hour drive? Right? Before we even hit that, she was shot twice, 2 separate occasions. Days, 2 separate days, guys. Once in the face, once in her chest. And I want you guys to focus on the chest because they said she was burned on 30% of her body, right? She was shot on 2 separate times. Mother never really rendered any kind of aid from a gunshot wound. The guy shot her twice. She was burned several times. The mother's the one that did the burning. After it came to her attention that the boyfriend had raped this girl 5 different times, in which he's charged for 5 counts of 2nd-degree rape. If you put this whole thing together, this girl was in the car, suffering horribly already from days of trauma, trying to make it all make sense of how she did something wrong by going to her own mother to tell the atrocities that this animal, her boyfriend, who was a piece of shit from the jump, and she knew it, did to her own daughter. She did the right thing by going to the guardian, her own mother, the one that should be sworn to protect and make sure her life, the life of her child, is better than her own. Even though she's in some dire circumstances, because that house looked like hell. And looking at her face, you could tell she ain't took care of herself. And you only as good as the leadership you follow. You all agree or disagree on that? This whole case runs me hot, and I don't see how this did not make national news. This is one of the most horrific cases of a parent doing something to a child. And there's been a lot that really, this pushes the envelopes all the way to the end of the table. You've seen all of this stuff done to your kid. Nothing you said, man, this is enough. Even though it shouldn't have happened in the first place. 10-year-old girl said she woke up several times to her mother burning this girl on several occasions with rubbing alcohol and a lighter. Now, for her to have 4th-degree burns, that's bigger than trying to put the flames out as soon as they get on you. Either she was held and let the burn had been burned like that and made to take that pain, or it was in a position where she kept getting burned in the same spots and was in a prone position to where she couldn't put the flames out herself. Either way, it burnt this girl to the bone. Did you hear the police chief? She'll never get real justice. She'll never get it. Parts of her body are gone. She had burns over 30% of the body, most likely the chest and part of her face. 30% of her body. For some reason, focusing on her chest, I don't know what it was, but the mother had a problem with it. And you know, when you deal with cases like this, and as touchy as they are, you can only assume. There are a lot of women out here, not all. There are a lot of women out here that are jealous of their daughter's development physically. There are a lot of women out here that see things and don't say nothing because they want the comfort of a man, and any man to do. This is a perfect example of this. It is. You knew this guy was a piece of shit when you were staying up there laying up with him. You knew you was never enough. And I'm going to tell you another thing. She turned her direct, because all this is, guys, if you look at it, all this is the daughter went to the mom. She was tired of the guy touching her and raping her. Went to the mom. Mom got mad, blamed the daughter. Just like the movie Precious. Blame the daughter. Everything this guy has ever did and she went through with this guy, whether he was messing with other women or not, and I strongly believe that she didn't caught him messing around or knew he was messing around, and she was in a position where she didn't want to lose him, so she shut up and took it or argued with him once in a while, but the embarrassment is still there. The children probably seen them arguing, because you know, a lot of times these idiot folks don't argue outside of plain view with the children, so the children already know their business, and I think that's what it was. When he did that, she took all the anger she had for him doing all of that stuff to other women that she can't get in contact with and mess and do something to. So what she did, she put it all on her child. Enough is enough. The breaking point, she can take the baby, but she ain't not going to deal with this guy. And she put all of her frustration that she had for him into her own goddamn kid. And that's what's hurtful. That's what's hurt. No matter what embarrassment and shame you got, you could have got rid of this dude. And you could have got him locked up. There was always options. I told you, a lot of people out here operate in organized confusion. There was always options. In 2017, y'all, she got charged with child abandonment, and they made her take a parenting class. You 40 years old. 2017 was what? 7 years ago? So what, you was 33? And they had to teach you how to be a parent. Your kids was already there. So 7 years ago, right? The 15-year-old was 8. And the other little girl was what? 3? So you left an 8 and a 3-year-old, you just abandoned them. There are some people out here that hate their children. Unacceptable. This girl, when she was found, looked like the Walking Dead. You drove 6 hours with your daughter looking like a zombie in a fucking car. She's in jail right now, guys. If you go and look at the story, I got it, the pop-ups at the end that explains everything. She's in jail right now, not saying nothing. Won't cooperate with the police. Won't say anything because what she feels that she did is justified in one way or another. You see it a lot of times in a lot of these situations where you see these women that are sitting up here in these mugshots doing some of the most vilest shit with their head up high, like I did it and I don't care. We lose women, we lose society, and we're losing it. You see what's happening. More and more child abuse cases are coming up. You're starting to see people have no restraint when dealing with kids and putting their hands on them and punching them in like they're their same height and weight proportion. You see little babies getting beat to death, not even a week old. The amount of betrayal, depression, and just a long road to recovery, which will be painful because she suffered burns. They got to cut away all that dead flesh. This girl was shot twice and went untreated for a while. So, you know, the wounds are trying to close. A lot of infection, a lot of dead flesh and charred flesh. They got to cut away while she's either awake or semi-awake with a sedative. All of this because a mother could not take the fact that a guy that never wanted her in the first place went to her daughter, and her daughter had the gumption to come and tell her, thus making her the victim. Your child was disrespected, and you didn't do anything. You only thought about yourself, and that's unacceptable. Both of these people need to be taken outside, hung upside down, and bled out like hogs. That's just my opinion. And then set on fire. Fuck it. I'm Stock Market Steve for the Dynamic Reason channel. As always, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Not all of us, granted, had good parenting. And a lot of you guys out there that listen to me, a lot of y'all eat through survival. You barely made it, and good for you. There are a lot of stuff out here with a lot of my listeners that they went through that they don't want to share, but I'm going to tell you this right now. Back then, you was a victim. Now you're a survivor. You make a better tomorrow for those that come after you and the children you have. And that's the best you can do. You keep moving forward. The earth continues to spin. We ain't got no choice but to keep moving forward. Never let despair hit you where it hurts and you can't get up. This is sickening. People always think when they're upset, nothing in the world matters except what they're going through. But sometimes there are people going through stuff out here that are a little bit worse than you, or a lot. You can ask this 15-year-old girl. She'd gladly trade places with a lot of people out here right now. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.